So last night, Liverpool beat Newcastle 2-0. Arsenal drew 0-0 with Nottingham Forest. And the Premier League title race is basically over for another season at the end of February. And some people might say it was over weeks ago, which is fair enough. But it's definitely done now. There is a 13-point gap. And even if Arsenal win their game in hand, it's still 10 points to make up over the final 10 games of the season. I just don't see it happening. And I think Nottingham Forest, Man City, Chelsea are just too far behind to put any kind of pressure on. And look, it's football, right? So anything can happen. We've seen Liverpool slip up before, but it just ain't going to happen this season. And Arsenal don't have the attacking power right now to put any kind of pressure on them. Like, if you can't pick up a few wins to make that gap smaller, increasing the pressure on Liverpool, they're just going to be able to cruise it. Like last night, I didn't watch the full game against Newcastle. I think I caught most of the second half. Newcastle very rarely troubled them. At least not for a consistent period of time. And I know they were missing Isak. That's obviously a huge impact on Newcastle for him to miss out. But Liverpool just it was like a comfortable 2-0, basically. And it's the kind of thing they can do for the rest of the season. We saw the game before against, I'm not going to be able to remember who it was, against Man City. And Man City had a lot of possession in that game. And Liverpool just defended. Like, really well. Like, Man City could not break them down. Any time that Doku got past Trent or Savinho got in on the right, they never really created anything because Liverpool just had everything blocked off. And so maybe it's a bit of a cliche, and I've seen other people kind of talk about this, but Liverpool can go and attack, but they can also just sit in, and they've got the defence to do that, and they can just win in a variety of different ways, no matter who they're coming up against. So although Man City had so much of the ball, and everyone will talk about the amount of times that Trent got dribbled past, for those that watched the game, it was just comfortable for Liverpool. So was the Newcastle game, just in a different way. I think unless Arsenal can put some pressure on, which is just not going to happen, Liverpool have obviously won it. But the reason I wanted to talk about this, one, because the title's basically over, but there's also this narrative going around that Arsenal have bottled the league. Now, to be fair, I say there's a narrative. It's on social media. I appreciate that's not the best place to go for fan opinion. People say stuff for clicks and likes, and maybe I'm just adding to that by even talking about it in the first place. But any time a team finishes second, Arsenal might not finish second yet, by the way. They might fall to third or fourth. You don't know. But any time a team finishes second, it's always seen as bottling the league. But it's not like they've been leading for ages, and then Liverpool have just hit them to the post. Liverpool are ahead quite clearly and have been for a little while. So I don't see how we can call it a bottle job. And also, the reason that I can just never get that involved in football discussions on Twitter and stuff like that is people are just way too tribal, right? And I get it, it's a rivalry, it's football, that's why we love it. But it makes the discussions pointless. People just have to point score for their team to get people to like their tweets or whatever. And no one will ever accept that two things can be true. So I think Liverpool winning the league is not really that much of a surprise, right? If you look at the underlying numbers in terms of defensive numbers, Liverpool and Arsenal are quite similar. They're both clearly the best two defences in the league. But the Liverpool attack is superior, and it has been even before Saka, Martinelli and Havertz got injured. So Liverpool winning the league was probably always going to happen. But Arsenal fans also have a point that the injuries have not helped one bit. And I see this weird argument from some Liverpool fans saying, yeah, but losing Saka, Martinelli and Havertz is not like losing Diaz, Gakpo and Salah because that front three is better. But what kind of an argument? That doesn't make any sense. You take any team's front three out for like a month or more, and that is going to impact that team. So Liverpool would have probably won the league anyway, but it has become easier because Arsenal have lost their main three attackers. And they've lost Jesus as well, who's one of the backups. At the moment, they're having to run with Nwaneri, Trossard, and then Marino, or sometimes Sterling in that front three as well. And that is obviously not quite so good. So the idea that Arsenal have bottled anything, not true. And by the way, I find it quite funny that Arsenal came so close to winning the league last year. I think they were 2 points behind Man City. Man City finally have a bad season, and Arsenal still can't win the league. Right? There is some comedy element to that. I'm sure Arsenal fans don't agree. So it's not like I'm trying to defend them because I'm an Arsenal fan or anything like that. But I just hate this idea that they've bottled anything because they haven't. I mean, Arsenal fans might argue that the club bottled the transfer window. They had time to, bring some new players in January. But I guess in some ways, you've also got to think a bit longer term. Maybe they should have gone out and splashed loads of money and tried to get the league this season. But also, you don't want to bring in a load of players, then your other players come back from injury, and all of a sudden you've got an unhappy squad because people want to play more minutes and they just can't do that. And I agree, before anyone tells me, Arsenal probably do need one or two more attackers and a bit more strength in depth. It doesn't mean it's so easy to go and get that in January. Maybe there'll be a big overhaul in the summer. And so it's frustrating if you're an Arsenal fan that you've lost and you've had these injuries, you've got no backups, or at least the quality is not good enough in those backups. But it's just one of those things, and I don't think you've bottled anything. For Liverpool, I think a lot of credit has to be given to Arne Slot. Obviously, he's inherited a good team, right? They've got the best goalkeeper, best centre-back, best attacker in the league. So in some ways, it's quite easy. But there was also a lot of pressure coming into that Liverpool club. That's a weird way of wording it. Coming into that Liverpool team and taking over from Jurgen Klopp, because he was such a big part of Liverpool over so many years. And it's like Klopp hasn't gone at all. Like, it's just been so impressive. Like 28 games in the league, 21, 7 drawn, only 1 loss so far. Arsenal have lost 3, Forest have lost 7, City have lost 8. It's just super impressive. And they're going to have this league won soon-ish. And once that happens, if they can stay in the Champions League, they can then just focus on that without having to worry about the league as well. So Slot's done a great job. They didn't even bring anyone in the summer. Like, the recruitment for a while has just been very good. Like, that midfield of Szoboszlai, you got McAllister in there as well. You can bring Endo on towards the end of the games. Gravenberch has been great, by the way. So it's not just that Slot inherited a great squad. Like, I don't think anyone rated Gravenberch as highly before this season. You know, up front, their squad, you've got Jota, Nunez. I know Nunez hasn't been great, right? But generally, you've got backups in those positions. If Trent's out, Bradley can play. Konate's been amazing. Like, it's just an all-round great squad, but I still think a lot of credit's got to be given to Arne Slot. Like, I think it's not often a manager takes over and does this well straight away, no matter what team you're taking over. Like, it can happen, of course, and it probably has, probably more times than I remember, but I also feel like it doesn't happen that often. So, yeah, unfortunately, Liverpool are going to win it. There's not, as a Man United fan, there's just no team that's going to win the league anytime soon, which is better than another. You don't want City to win for obvious reasons. You don't want Liverpool to win. Arsenal's probably the best of the lot, but as someone that grew up in the 90s when Arsenal and Man United rivalry was big, I also just really wouldn't want to see Arsenal win the league. And also, it's quite funny that they keep getting close-ish and then not winning it. But anyway, Arsenal haven't bottled it. Liverpool are just very good. What will be more interesting is to see what happens next season, because Liverpool have got Trent, Salah and Van Dijk contracts to sort out. Don't know who's going to sign. Probably all 3 of them, but we'll have to wait and see. There's surely going to be some recruitment there as well, possibly for another attacker. Like, if they can get good money for Nunez, maybe they can bring someone in. I mean, Isak would be amazing in that Liverpool team, but everyone's going to want him, and that is going to be huge money. Man City will definitely spend money. They always do. And then you've got Arsenal. Who will they bring in from an attacking point of view? And they are going to be the 3 going for the title next season. It ain't going to be Man United. It's probably not going to be Chelsea either. I doubt it's going to be Spurs. So will it be a 3-horse race? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like coming on and talking about that today. I haven't put a video up on this channel for a while. Will the next one be anytime soon? Probably not. But there we go. As I say on all my videos, no one's forced to watch it. So if you got to this point, fair enough. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And I might catch you again at some point soon, or at least some point in the next 12 months, I expect.